Hey everybody, Mary here. So thank you for joining us for Tuesdays Ask Me Anything office hours on the Move Up Mindset Career Community. So it is here where we take your questions, what's on your mind about anything job search or career related, career development related. So you're always welcome to join us here for these calls live, but at the same time, it is always recorded, and sometimes we have people on, sometimes we don't. But we do get questions all the time. And what I try to do is take what is on people's minds and share my 2 cents about that. And occasionally we'll have people who are, my friends or other experts as well in hiring and building teams and such. So anyway, I figured this would be a good time to answer a very popular question lately. I've been working a lot with new clients, and they have gone through the application process. They see a position that they've seen online, they apply right away. Some time goes by, they go back to the job listing, and they see that the position has been reposted. And the question is, does that mean anything? Does that signal that they're now out of the running? Like, what is going on with that? Can you get some clues from a refreshed or reposted job description on a certain job board or social media platform? So it is a good question. And I know plenty of people do ask it, because I get this question at least 4 to 5 times a week, or at least I have in the last week and a half. So the answer to this question, there isn't necessarily one hard and fast right answer, but from my observation, typically when a job posting is reposted or refreshed, typically the organization is wanting to get more people to their candidate pool. And specifically, they're not necessarily seeing, what they had hoped to see, or, they want to take advantage of knowing that there are more people out there and encouraging them to apply, in terms of opportunities. So for an example, there have been a lot of notices within the last few months of companies in certain industries laying off. There are rumors, there are all sorts of things, right? And a lot of times companies are aware that, right now might be a time where people who wouldn't have necessarily been looking, they are probably looking if they're in one of these industries that is affected. Perhaps the people were laid off, but also maybe they weren't laid off and people are just a little unsteady and uncertain about where they might be employment wise. So they want to encourage people, all sorts of people, more people, with the hopes of, getting more profiles and applications that are looking in alignment with what they are hoping for a specific role. And by refreshing and reposting it, very simplified answer is that, the ones that are involved in the hiring process are not seeing that preferred profile. So, does that mean that you've been completely ruled out and are no longer in consideration because you applied a few days ago and then now you're saying that they just refreshed the posting? It might. You're not necessarily going to know for sure until you get official word from the company that you're no longer in the running. And unfortunately, a lot of companies are, not very good at their communication protocols and their process of telling people what the status is. So it is possible that you might be still in the running. Very possible that, the recruiters and other people on the other side of the, review process, they are slowly filtering through people's backgrounds, getting feedback, speaking with people, seeing if they're going to move forward. They might also be doing it in a slower pace because that's just how it goes on the opposite side behind the scenes, I mean, I can tell you many times that a lot of the recruiters and people involved in the hiring process, I mean, they're not necessarily driving the pace of how quickly an organization is hiring and can interview. I mean, they're often the connector or coordinator of a million people's schedules, getting feedback and following the directions and guidance from higher ups and decision makers, quite honestly. So they're just responding to what is being looked at and told to them in terms of what's appropriate to interview, in terms of contacting people, reaching out, seeing who's going to be, involved with the next steps, invited, etc. Sometimes they're given guidance to slow it down quite a bit, and not really give much more information beyond that. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is true. So really the moral of the story here is that it's not necessarily a closed book, and it's very easy to decipher what reposting a job might mean about your candidacy. Do I think it means that they've moved on? In some cases, I think that you may not be necessarily in their top batch of people. If you've already applied and it's been, a few weeks and you see that a job has been reposted, it's likely you're not in the top mix. Are you qualified for the job? Yeah, most likely you are if you're meeting the requirements and your background. But those on the opposite side are probably having another opinion of who they want to prioritize to get in for these interviews and who they want to learn more about. Does it detract from how you are as a person or what you offer to the world? No. It just means that this company doesn't really get it. They don't understand you. They don't really see it. And it could be a lot of different things. I mean, it could be what you're messaging that's not quite really hitting the mark, but it also could just be that the company doesn't quite get it, and the people working in these hiring positions, they don't understand your background well enough to really take the extra steps to understand what you do and to advocate to a hiring manager that might be pushing back against your background. So that's my 2 cents. Would love to hear what you guys think. What has been your experience in all of this? Please let me know, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks.